Okay, I need to go up to image size. So image size. And then I need to make sure that resample image is checked because I need to suck out some of these pixels. So I'm going to go from 300 ppi down to 72 ppi. Notice this was 24.1 megabytes. It's now going to be 1.39 megabytes. So it's going to be a lot smaller. So your web browser is going to be able to view it a lot quicker. So it's going to shrink down. That's okay. Zoom back up. Okay. So I've downsampled to 72 ppi so that I don't accidentally save over the document, the beautiful, pretty document, the TIFF or the JPEG that I want to print later. I'm going to go File, Save As right away, so I don't forget. And I'm going to change this. I always like to add animation. I sometimes just do ANI for short, but you can type animation. Make sure that you're not putting periods. I've been seeing a lot of periods in file names. The only dot or period that goes in your file name goes in between the file name and the file extension. So please, yeah, no dots over here. All right, animation 1, say save, say okay. So I know when I see an animation file, I know that that's a small file. If I printed that, it would be the size of a postage stamp. It would be very small. So that is why we save again. Let's animate. So I've got my timeline open down here. Yay! I've got my linear symmetry design here. It's all in its own layer. Yay! It can have different layers over here, but mine's just merged down. I have my frame down here. Here's how this is going to work. I am going to go over here into my adjustments over here. It was itches. In my adjustment layer, notice when I click on or I'm not even clicking, when I move my mouse over the different adjustment layers, the words change right up here to tell me what it is. I'm looking for the hue saturation. Hue means color, saturation means how much color. So with the hue saturation menu, when I add an adjustment layer, it's going to add a layer over here, which is awesome. And then I have this hue slider here. This is a color slider. And as I slowly move the slider from the left to the right, it's going to shift the color. Notice there's a number up here as well. The number goes all the way from -180 all the way up, -110, -0, oh no, -10, 0, up to 10, and then all the way back to 180. +180 is the same color as -180. So think of this line as a color wheel. It's just been flattened out. So the beauty of this is I can pull this slider all the way over here. It has shifted my color to a -180. And it's not uncolorized because I want it to blend in with the other colors. So just pull your color slider over. In frame 1, I have one layer over here and I'm at -180. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to duplicate the frame. So add a new frame down here, little tiny button. I'm going to duplicate my layer over here, duplicate layer, turn the eyeball off. This is really important in this one because the hue saturation tends to blend throughout the layers. So you need to make sure that you're turning the eyeball off. And then up here in my hue saturation, I can easily, instead of moving the slider, I just go up and change the number from 180 to -170. And then I continue. Once I get here, I always have to check something out though. I need to make sure that I do not have a check mark next to new layers visible in all frames. What this would do, if this had a check mark next to it, every time I duplicate and add a frame or add a layer over here, it's going to go and add that layer, that new one, into all my previous frames. So then when you get done, you have eyeballs on all over the place where you didn't think you had eyeballs on. So make sure that is not checked. Okay, no checky check there. And then I'm going to repeat. New frame, duplicate frame, same thing. Duplicate your layer, duplicate layer. And then I'm going to come up. I can keep my hue saturation menu open, and I'm just going to keep going. Notice the difference in the color. It's because I didn't hide it, because I'm talking and not thinking about my process. So here we go. I'm going to do this right this time. Duplicate frame, duplicate layer, turn it off. So hide it, turn it off, and then move your slider over by 10. So then repeat, duplicate frame, duplicate layer, hide it, move it. It should be a song. Duplicate frame, duplicate layer, hide it, move it by 10. And then I will continue this. I'm not going to make you watch me go all the way across. But I want you to think about this. Duplicate frame, duplicate layer. If negative 180 and positive 180 are the same color, how far do you think I have to go? Do you think I have to go all the way to 180? Well, if it's the same color, no. I only have to go to positive 170. This is, see, I lost where I was. Negative 130, negative 120. So I'm going to go all the way across. This is eventually going to look like this, okay? If you look at my layers over here, so frame 1, layer 1 of my hue saturation is on. Layer 2, frame 2, layer 2. Frame 3 is this eyeball. Frame 4, this eyeball. As you click through your frames, you will see your eyeball going up. The way Photoshop animates, each frame is tied to the layers. So if you have multiple eyeballs on over here, they're going to show in the frame. So when I click play, if I turn this on to forever, and click play, it's going to rotate through my sequence and my color shift. The beauty of this is if I highlight all of my frames underneath. Okay, so if I take all these frames, click on the first one, hold shift, click on the last one, I can easily, so I selected all my frames, I can easily turn off that image. I can add in another image down here. I've already done the work to color shift it. Now I can color shift something else. I did this one on purpose. Notice that it doesn't color shift very much. It's because it's primarily black and white. There's not a lot of color shift in a black and white photo. It's very, very subtle. So please, when you're choosing images, choose an image that is primarily or mostly colorful. Okay, and it has a lot of colors that will shift in it, like something like this, or something like this. Okay, so this one started out with many different colors in it. They're mostly warm colors, but it still works. When I'm done with this, not this one, where'd it go? Side scope. I want to go back and I'm going to save this as a TIFF. Okay, or if I'm done and I need to walk away for a little bit, save it as a TIFF. A TIFF is going to save all of your layers underneath, all of your frames underneath and all of your layers so that you can get back into it, change it up, add another image, or keep working on it. So save it as a TIFF. Make sure you're changing the format here to TIFF. Save that. Dun, 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 dun. If you need to replace it, replace it. And then if I'm done and I'm ready to save this as a GIF, like an animated GIF, I'm going to go to File, and I'm not going to go to Save As. You guys do this all the time. Don't go to Save As. Go to Save for Web. This is how we get an animated GIF. Give it a second. Oh, this one I didn't downsample. Notice how big it is and how long it's taking for this to load. If this happens to you, if you did not downsample, which is when we went from 300 to 72 PPI, if this happens, there is kind of a cheat way of doing it. You can come down to the percentage. As soon as this loads, it takes forever because it's so large. I can change the percentage down to like 20%. This is not the best way to do this, but this is another option of how to animate without having to go and downsample, which is actually the better way of doing it. And I kind of want to stop the video and go back and not use this file, but I'll show you because you're going to do it like this sometime as well. So as soon as this opens,